Prisoner suddenly heard strange noises in his cell. He lay on the ground and listened carefully. Unexpectedly, the ground began to bulge. The prisoner was startled and stared at the ground in disbelief. Soon, all the stone slabs shattered, and an unknown creature emerged from below. The prisoner was scared and didn't know what to do. He was surrounded by cliffs and had nowhere to hide. To his surprise, the creature that emerged turned its head, and it was actually an old man with white hair. It turns out that he was also a prisoner here, who had been digging a tunnel for 5 years to prepare for escape. But he dug in the wrong direction. But he was not only not angry, but also went forward to comfort Mark and asked him for help. Seeing the long-lost sunlight, after Mark calmed down, he invited Mark to his cell. This place was much more spacious than his cell, not only with some furniture and facilities, but also with many books. At this time, the old man invited Mark to join his escape team. As long as they change the direction and continue digging, they can escape from here in a few years. At first, Mark thought it was impossible and didn't plan to join, but the old man said that he could impart all the knowledge he had learned in his life. Hearing this, Mark immediately agreed. The cell here would open 2 windows a day, one in the morning to collect garbage, and one in the evening to deliver meals. The rest of the time, they could dig the tunnel boldly and confidently. The old man cut off a small piece of hair with a knife, then lit it with a stone, and finally lit a homemade candle, and crawled into the tunnel to start digging. In his spare time, he would also teach Mark knowledge. The only thing they needed to pay attention to was the meal delivery time. Put the meal plate in the window of the cell door. As long as they saw the plate, they could finish their work. No one would look inside. In this way, Mark not only learned a lot of knowledge, but also learned various martial arts skills. As they dug deeper and deeper, the old man finally made a new discovery that day. He carefully scraped away the soil. It was the roots of plants. This means that they are very close to the ground outside. The two were very excited. Mark quickly returned, ready to get more handy tools. But unexpectedly, the tunnel began to show signs of collapse. He hurriedly reminded the old man to leave, but it was still a step too late. The old man was buried by the collapsed rocks. Mark rescued the old man from the tunnel. At this time he was already dying. His lungs were damaged. He knew he was not long for this world. He told Mark his secret. There was a treasure map in the stone under the book. He hoped that after Mark went out, he could find the treasure and do more good deeds. Then, he completely lost his breath. Mark hadn't had time to grieve, and there were footsteps outside. He was scared and quickly came to the corner. The guard was preparing to serve the meal, but he didn't see the meal plate on the ground, and there was no response when he kicked the door. He lay on the ground and took a look, realized something was wrong, and hurried back to call someone. Mark took advantage of this time, quickly covered the tunnel cover, and then hid in the passage. The guards in the prison found that the old man was dead, took out a bag and carried him out. After tying the rope, they went to inform the warden. Mark also had to use this time to say goodbye to the old man for the last time. But suddenly, he had a bold idea. The warden came here with the guards, just took a look, and let the 2 people carry away the body, ready to throw it into the sea. And the guard who was responsible for serving the meal came to Mark's cell, also didn't see the meal plate, and there was no one when he kicked the door. This time, he directly opened the cell, saw the hole on the ground, and there was a person lying in the distance. He went up to check. It was actually the old man who had just died. Who was in that bag? He hurriedly ran out desperately. At this moment, the guards had already carried the bag to the edge of the cliff, tied the bag with an iron ball, and were ready to throw it into the sea. At this time, the guard who was responsible for serving the meal came to the door and shouted loudly not to throw, but the distance was too far. The warden couldn't hear at all, and they didn't expect that Mark was hidden inside. He saw the key through the gap, and in the moment he was thrown out. He grabbed the key and took the warden down with him. After falling into the water, Mark quickly tore the bag, unlocked the chain with the key, and swam hard towards the sea surface. When he surfaced, he just saw the warden who was ready to escape. Mark directly went up and pressed him into the water, letting him meet God. Soon after, Mark woke up on the island opposite. Looking at the prison in the distance, he could not hide his excited joy, happily running on the beach, enjoying the long-awaited freedom.